Testing, testing, 1, 2. Research. Let's see. Okay. And let me brighten this up just a little bit. All right, there we go. All right, so first off, let's get over here to the low floats and see what's going on. So we got our low float scanner there. Let me fix that a little bit. Did it move or something? So for the low floats today, we see CETX, BDRX, and TWG, and then we have JFBR down there. Where is my edit? Okay. Okay. So yeah, those are our low floats. We also have a higher float, which is FULC. FULC, let me look how that looks. FULC. Don't know what FULC is, but let's go ahead and get over here to CETX. Went up to $20 and it's playing around right around 12 or so. Now we got to do our due diligence to see what's going on. Why are these stocks up so much? Of course, we know that this could be the trickle down from the previous days, you know, seeing SMX go up, I don't know how many percent. And a couple others that I think I notated down here as well we can look back at. Okay. So let's go and check this out. So starting off with CETX, because it is up 300%, we want to know a little bit more about the profile of this company and why they're up this much. Okay. CETX profile. All right, so Cemtrex Inc. operates as a technology company in the U.S. and internationally. It operates through security and industrial services and Cemtrex corporate segments. The company offers browser-based video monitoring and analytics-based recognition systems, cameras, servers, and access control systems for security and surveillance in industrial. Okay, so security and surveillance. Let's see what kind of keywords is it. Utilizing AI-based data algorithms. That's nothing. All right, so let's see. This is out of Brooklyn, New York, 1998. Um, Software and infrastructure, 264 employees. What keywords can we draw out of here? So we know we saw security. We saw that it works with some of the state-funded places. They got some commercial facilities, federal prisons, hospitals, university schools, and federal and state government offices, in critical security and video surveillance. Okay. Any other things? The company was formerly known as Diversified American Holding. Okay. Well, let's see if it has any news. Well, first of all, let's see what the float is. I'm going to take some notes here. The float is looking like under 1 million shares. 378 million. Or 378,000, my bad. 378,000. Not heavily owned by insiders or institutions, but it is a little bit swayed to the institutions. Okay, let's go up to the news. I didn't really see any news on TOS, but maybe there's some news somewhere else. Okay, so last news that they have reported is 17 days ago. It enters into an agreement to acquire Ivacon. So that's quite a bit of late news back there, but it's still moving up today. Maybe they'll put some more news out. And this was out of New York. Brooklyn, New York, 1998. Okay. So let's go over to the daily chart for this one. It was trading around $3.07 at the close of Friday. And now it is up here around $13. So got over this gap here. So we can't just ignore that. This is a gap here. Started what, $8, so it need to drop down to this gap. This is the lower portion of the gap. Daily gap. Then we got the higher portion. Okay, so we got our gaps. Then it came up and blasted over the 11s. This little spike out here, 1095. So that could be a possible daily level, but I'm not sure about that. Let's just go ahead and mark it up. Not a peak though. It's just kind of like a possible because it's ripped so much above that. Maybe a possible daily level. Okay, above that is 13, right up here to 1386 on the daily chart. Looks like a very interesting level back here on 9/10. So September 10th. So we will duplicate this and drag it up. So we got 4 levels out there. Let's back up just a little bit and see if there's anything else that's super obvious. Not really. Okay. So yeah, no catalyst, no clear catalyst, but four kind of interesting levels. I don't know what these will act as. But right now it's right around that 13. It's closest to the 1376, but it has room down to 1095. But we'll see if any news actually comes out about it. The next one is BDRX. BDRX. Not seeing any catalyst on it either. Let's jump over to profile. It's around $10. Profile Biodexa Pharmaceuticals, a clinical stage biopharmaceutical company, focuses on developing a pipeline of products for the treatment of familial adenomatous polyposis. Okay, so type 1 diabetes, bladder cancer. So that are some of the keywords. Let me notate that. So we got some cancer keywords over here on this. Bladder cancer, type 1 diabetes, okay, any other keywords? Type 1 cancer, diabetes. Tumors are in there. Okay. So the company was formerly known as Miditech. This is the second company that has changed its name. CETX also changed its name. It changed its name in March 2023. Biodexa Pharmaceuticals PLC was founded in 2000. It's headquartered in Cardiff, the United Kingdom. The United Kingdom. Okay. Let's go and see. It's got 13 employees. It is a healthcare based stock. Let's go to its float. Float is looking like, ooh, look at that high float. 60.83 billion. Definitely not the kind of floats we like. That may or may not, I don't even know if that's correct, but if that isn't correct, there's a mismatch in the data, so that's another red flag. So float is 60 billion. 60.83 billion. All right, so we will got that notated. Now let's jump over here to the daily chart on it. Very high. You know what? I'm not even gonna jump over to the daily chart because of that float. Don't even need to. Let's see. TWG is the next one. TWG up 75%. Let's go look at that one. Yeah, when you hit a red flag that big, I mean, you might as well just stop looking at it. Top Wealth Group Holding Limited. Float is under 1,435,000. Let me go ahead and mark that up. Float is for 35.58. Okay. Okay. Not really heavy on the insiders or institutions. Go ahead to profile. Okay, Top Wealth Group. This is out of Hong Kong. It serves food and beverage related distributors. Company was founded in 2009 and is out of Hong Kong. Top Wealth Group operates as a subsidiary of Win-Win Development Group. Okay, so this is going to be an Asian Hong Kong stock. Okay, and then what kind of company is this? Consumer Defensive Food Distribution with 4 employees. Okay. All right, got those notes added. Debate. So there's the notes right there. Asian, Hong Kong, float, sector, consumer defense, food distribution with full-time employees, 4 full-time employees. Don't see any catalysts on that. JFBR also up here. Jeff Brands Limited. I think this was a Chinese company too, I think. Or Israeli, maybe. Israel. Yep. Okay, let's go. Did I already notate this one? Did not. But I think this was one that I had looked at, and Donnell was like, "Nah, that's a Israeli stock. Don't want that one." So let me just add the note so I don't forget. Activate. Okay, and then some of the ones that we had from last week. Let me see how this looks. Okay, so SMX was one that was moving crazy. It's down 29% with very low volume. TGL is up 120, but it hasn't made it to the million. These are just notes that I took from last week. Going into the end of the day, like aftermarket, these kind of pop. SMX TGL up 121%, TWG 75%, MHUA was one that popped. Now it's down 25%, WHLR down 21%. Okay, so let's go ahead and flip through these real quick. Starting off with SMX. SMX was once at $400 and now it's at $219 with, and the volume, I mean the volume was never impressive. It was always low volume and it just continued to come down after that first spike. So thinking it's going to continue to drop. But now sitting around $234 per share. TGL, it's another one during Friday that ended up popping in the aftermarket from, oops. Let me go to 15 minutes, acting up. 15-minute. Okay. So 15-minute came from $6, kind of worked its way up to about $25 on Friday and popped from 20 up to $88. And now it's playing around in this range. I don't think it had crazy news. What was Friday? Friday was the 5th. Yeah. So does not look like it had crazy news there. Just got excited and got going. TWG up 76%. This is an Asian, Hong Kong. Oh, we just looked at that one. Okay, so that was a note that I took from after market as well. Went from $5 up here to about $14. Asian stock. Okay, so that one has already made it onto the scan, so I will delete it off the on watch. MHU. I'm not sure why this one popped up, but yeah. MHU. Go ahead and get that off of there. WHLR. This was the real estate trust. And we know REITs never really do much. So it came out and just shook everybody up on Friday and left everybody with either tears or luck. So that's how that went. But everything else I think we have on the scans for the on watch scanner. WHLR. I'm gonna go ahead and take WHLR off. It's down 21%. Really don't expect much out of that. SMX as well. I'm gonna go ahead and clean off the scans. Not even reaching 100 million shares today. TGL is on its way, but none of these have shown catalyst for this morning. So definitely want to see that. FULC was one that popped on the higher float. Let me see what this is talking about. It's up 49%. So I'm not sure what it is though. Does it have catalyst? Fulcrum Therapeutics. Fulcrum Therapeutics, Inc., a clinical stage biopharmaceutical company, develops small molecules to improve the lives of patients with genetically defined diseases in the areas of high unmet medical need and in the United States. Its clinical stage product candidate Prociridire, a fetal hemoglobin inducer, which is a phase 1B clinical trial for the treatment of sickle cell disease. Okay, so let's notate that for fulcrum, sickle cell disease. That is, and hopefully it has catalyst with this. All right, so keyword sickle cell. Let's see, sickle cell disease and beta thalassemia. The company also discovers drug targets for potential treatment inherited aplastic anemias, such as diamond black fan. Okay, so they got some crazy names in here. All right, fetal. Okay, being investigated. This is out of Cambridge, Massachusetts. And this was out of 2015. They have 45 employees, healthcare, biotech, 45 employees. All right, let's go look at that float. Float is looking like 27.54 million, so a little bit higher float, but if it has catalyst, it still has something that these other ones don't have. So float 27 million. Wait. 4 mil. Very heavily held by institutions. Insiders 1%, held by institutions 100% almost. So definitely worth noting that heavy holding in the institutions. Okay, let's see. So let's go through their BAM SEC. Let's go through their SEC filings and see if any of these have shelf registrations. So starting off with CTEX, Centrix, does have shelf registrations from December 2024, and then they amended it in January. So they are in their 2-year window for the shelf registration. Okay, so let me notate that for CETX. Edit. Shelf registration amended. Amended January 10th, 2025. Okay. Let's go to the next one, BDRX. BDRX, no shelf registrations recently listed. Okay. Next one is TWG. No shelf registrations currently listed. JFBR, Jeff Brands Limited. Non-listed. Fulcrum FULC. Shelf registration from February 2024. Okay. A little bit older shelf registration, but still it's one out there. So I will notate that. Two 2024. Okay. And I'm believing that is it for all of our due diligence. TGL is also making its way up here. That was notated from last week, though. It's at $59. I'm not sure how many people will actually want to tackle TGL today, but I mean, if it hits a million shares, maybe. It does have two registrations, one from January 2025, and another one for, what is this, June? January, February, March, April, May, June. Yeah, June 2025 there. Good morning, Donnell. We're going and doing our due diligence. I'm about to zoom out and show y'all all the notes that we've gone through. TGL. Did I do any notes over here? I guess I didn't do any notes for TGL. Actually, you know what? It's gonna have to hit a million before I do anything with it. I don't want to. I'm good. It's already got a bunch of competition on the day. It's gonna have to push up if it's gonna take a position. All right, so we went through. Let's go through what we got on the scan. So on our low float scanner, we have CETX, BDRX, TWG, JFBR. On our higher floats, we have FULC, which does actually have some type of catalyst today. So looking like, let's see. Fulcrum Therapeutics reports positive initial results from trial of pociredir in sickle cell diseases. Shares of Fulcrum stored after the company released positive initial results from the trial of its whatever. So it actually has a little bit of catalyst today. And RBC raises the price target on Fulcrum Therapeutics to $10 from $7. It did. I mean, it already went up to 16. It just didn't hold there. So let's go look at these daily charts for all of these. I know we looked at CETX daily chart. We had already marked up these possible levels at 681, 893, 1095, and 1376. That it had a bunch of levels there. Let me lift this up just a little bit. I don't know if I want to go up or down with this. I guess I just put it out there like that. Out of New York, incorporated 1998, float is under a million. Shelf registration amended in January 10th, 2025. BDRX is the next one. This is out of the United Kingdoms or Kingdom. This one is a biotech with keywords bladder cancer, type 1 diabetes, but that float though, that float was 60.83 billion. So really high float there, really high float. So I don't know how many people will fall in love with that one. TWG, Asian Hong Kong stock, popped on aftermarket. Has a float of under a million. Sector consumer defense, and I think it had 4 employees. But yeah, it's food distribution. Hong Kong based Asian company. JFBR was the Israeli stock, popped up here on Friday and absolutely collapsed down here into the ether on into Friday trading. Then FULC is the one that actually has news for today. It does have a shelf registration, but we'll see what it wants to do. All right, let's jump over to BD. Let me see. Was it BDRX? I want to look at bladder cancer. Let's just look at this daily chart. Oh, I had already took notes on this one. Look at there. Okay, so let's back this up just a little bit. Yeah, I had already took notes on this. And bladder cancer, type 1 diabetes out of UK. I don't know if I traded this one before. I probably didn't. Let me go check. BDRX. Has BDRX taken money from me before? Let's see. I want to see ticker symbol BDRX. I traded it on October for, well, I traded it on May 22nd. Looks like May 22nd. I lost on it, $63. And then on October 9th, I traded it for a $87 win. So currently I'm green on it, like 20 bucks. But I today with no catalyst, I'm not sure I want to even touch this one. But we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it plays around. So I have traded this one before. Let's go back to TWG. I don't think I've ever traded this one. TWG. Let's see, TWG symbol. I have not traded TWG. Okay, but that's an Asian company. Could be blocked. I'm gonna test and see if these are blocked or whatnot, or have any trading problems today. And then JFBR is the Israeli stock. So let me check that one. Have I traded JFBR before? I have not traded JFBR before. ULC. Have not traded FULC before. Okay. So BDRX closed at $5, went up to a high of $14.93. So got over this little top here, 11.89. Yeah, I'm not sure about that one. Still up 96%, 89% now. TWG closed at $6, went all the way up to $15.95. But all of these have these little previous drops, you know, big drops. Yeah. So let's go look at FULC on the daily chart and see if it's looking a little bit better. Was trading around 890, got above this 1225 level. So we'll mark that up, 1225. It could be a possible daily. Possible daily level. Let's back it on up. Oh, it's just been going higher anyway. Okay, so it's got another peak out here at 1669. So let me duplicate. This will be a peak daily level. Edit. Right there at the 1377, and then it has another one back here at 1505. Activate. Did not mean to do that. Meant to duplicate. Okay, so 1505 there. So we got 3 levels there. One back here at 1223. What I'm looking for is the most obvious levels on the chart for this. Does have catalysts on the day, so I'll pop it onto our own watch and kind of see how it does. Does it kind of take over everything else or not? 2 more just popped up here on the chart as well. WVE, making a straight up motion here. from $7.72. It does have catalyst. Now we're starting to see news drop. WVE, and then another one was CFLT. I don't know if this has catalyst, but this is Confluent. No, I don't know what this is. We'll look through all of these. These are higher floats, so we'll see what they're exactly talking about. But one is up 54% with WVE, and then one is up 48, and then one is up 27%. So we'll look through all of that and do our due diligence on these catalyst stocks. Let's go over to WVE though. Wave Life Sciences. Okay, for the profile, it says Wave Life Sciences Limited, clinical stage biotechnology company, designs, develops, and commercializes ribonucleic acid medicines through PRISM. Okay, so RNA. Okay, so I'm seeing a keyword obesity. Let's start taking notes. Jot down these notes real quick. So obesity. Let's see. Rare prevalent disorders. Muscular dystrophy. Huntington's disease. They got a couple of diseases in here. Okay. Where is this out of? It's out of Singapore though. So Singapore-based company. Let's go to statistics, the float. The float is looking like 73.8, my bad, 73.92 million. 73 point, and Donnell said that BDRX has a float of 0.62 million. So that means that their numbers are not adding up. So it's kind of a red flag for me, but this float is just high. So 73.92 million. Okay. Okay, so that's WVE. What about go out to their daily chart for WVE. Asian Singapore obesity. But it's got a higher float. So again, if that float is wrong on WVE, well, that means there's a mismatch. So it looks like over here on the news, we have, and let's just go right back to, so on the low floats, we have four up here. None of them have catalysts. We did our due diligence on all of these. Nothing super interesting out of these four. On the higher floats, though, most of these have some type of catalyst or they have been previous movers. I know IRBT, I believe, was called out like last week or the week before. Um, FUCL, not sure about that one. Wave, not sure about that one, but we'll see if people fall more in love with the higher floats or the lower floats as the day goes on. Let's jump back over here. So how the Fed follows this week's hawkish cuts is far from certain. Near total conviction for the rate cut at this week's meeting puts the focus on what happens in 2026. China's trade surplus tops 1 trillion for the first time. 5 minutes ago. Bond market reaction to Fed rate cuts has been highly unusual. IBM said to close in on a $11 billion deal for Confluent. Okay, so CFLT, that's what we were seeing up there. It's up 26% right now. IBM trying to close a deal for that. Looks like an acquisition. Berkshire Hathaway, stock picker, whatever. Okay. Trump, Netflix, Warner deal may pose antitrust problem. Traders dump big tech, load up on laggards. Yep. Next error energy, Google Cloud expand deal to add U.S. capacity. Zelensky says no accord yet on Ukraine East in U.S. talks. OpenAI boasts enterprise win days after internal code read on Google threat. German corporate bankruptcies to surge to a decade high. Okay, Railway, Powell's vote gathering challenge shows test for new next Fed chair. And then silver holds near record as ETF investment reinforces rally. Okay. So that's why Confluent is moving. It's out here on top on the front page. IBM, let's see if this, what kind of deal this is. IBM is in the advanced talks to acquire data infrastructure company Confluent for about 11 billion. Okay, so that's just an acquisition. I usually stay away from acquisitions, and let me actually add that to the notes over here for Confluent. That's why it's moving like that. IBM is trying to buy it out. Or maybe they already have begun to buy it out. I'm not sure. All right, so IBM, 11 billion purchase or acquisition. Okay. Right. Back over to the news. All right, so we got an hour ago. So the most recent things are from an hour ago. Let's get into it. Something show up. Hmm.
Before we get to the first half of 26, we got Oracle earnings coming up, which sort of sits squarely at that debt concern that you are talking about. So What should we be watching for in those Oracle numbers and in the commentary?
You know, the models really matter now, and free cash flow really, really matters. They always put out a trailing 12-month free cash flow number. And before Oracle actually got into the realm of OCI or Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, just from a software perspective, a year and a half ago, their trailing 12-month free cash flow was on average a positive 8 billion. Now they're showing almost anywhere from 6 to negative $10 billion of free cash flow. And the street just does not like any name that, if you look at the Bloomberg or any model estimates out there for fiscal 26, 27, and 28, some of these companies may not get free cash flow for a long time because it is so capital intensive. So when Oracle reports, everybody's going to be looking at that trailing 12-month free cash flow number. Not so much margins. I get it. I know management's thinks that the street is overreacting on also gross margin compression. But after you listen to the Dell call, this component cost, I think, is just off the rails, and quite frankly, it's a modeling nightmare.
So I guess free cash flow then will be the number to watch and avoiding the modeling nightmare. What kind of changes have we seen in the cybersecurity landscape over the past few years? You know, there's been this whole like platformization trend among these companies where they're trying to say, come to me for all of your cybersecurity needs. How has that changed the landscape, made things safer, less safe? Well, how do you think about that?
So absolutely, there's consolidation, and platforms like CrowdStrike are a big sort of broad brush of suite-based capabilities, and a lot of people are moving towards that. They're like, here's one vendor, sort of one throat to choke, one organization that can help consolidate all these different security spends. At the same time, there's risk of over-concentration, which is now what we see is not only in cyber, but also in cloud, you've got global infrastructure that has outages once in a while. We had AWS, we had Azure recently, we had Cloudflare recently. Last year, CrowdStrike had a pretty notable outage. Mm-hmm. So you've got this wonderful benefits of consolidation. Hey, it all sort of works together, but you've got a lot of systematic risk. So what a lot of vendors are thinking about right now is, how do I mix my global infrastructure with sovereign investments, with my old school sort of on-prem systems just in case, or multiple global platforms?
I was just going to say the old school on-premise is quite interesting to me. I mean, do you think we'll see not a backlash against the cloud, but more of that like redundancy trend of on-premise?
Yeah, that's a great question. So it's not going to go back to the old on-premise, right, which is like very expensive and difficult. It's really going to be private cloud. And I think a couple folks to watch are Oracle and Google, which have made significant investments in their on-premise cloud offerings, their sovereign cloud, which you can run in a box in a data center and have a complete control. You have all the benefits of cloud, and you have the ability to scale. And Microsoft and AWS have their offerings as well, but Google and Oracle are really leaning into those on-premise clouds, plus the AI capabilities on-premise.
Okay, so we had a couple of additions to our higher floats. AVGO up 2%. And then we also had NVIDIA pop up here, and we have Apple down, CoreWeave down 4%. So we'll see. As the market looks like it was going up, it's taking a little break right now, just in this consolidation. I think a lot of people are sitting and waiting on this whole rate cut deal, though, for sure. Let's jump back over.
This potential $2,000 tariff dividend, that could be another tailwind. How do you see that? Let's say that plays out. What would that mean, Christian, though, for, I mean, through the lens of what would it mean for the consumer, earnings, the market? How do you try and think through that?
Yeah, one of the things that we've been worried about is this K-shaped recovery, and everybody's talked about it. And what we're seeing is that both legs of the K are getting a little bit thicker, meaning more people are doing well because of the wealth effect in equities. And then more people are struggling because we've seen wage growth, particularly at the lower end of the wage spectrum, start to decline. And as inflation is sticky, I think that will have a really impactful impact on the lower end consumer because of how much they have to spend on some of these day-to-day necessities. So that $2,000 dividend check will be, I think, a boon for them. Long term, I think that's probably not great for the economy in terms of what it does to our debt levels. But for 2026, that could certainly be helpful.
I know you talk about that sort of K-shaped economic reality, the low activity labor market, and the risk you point out of what that could mean for the unemployment rate. How much of a risk is that, Christian, in your opinion?
I think it's a big risk. And when we think about 2026 and the big risks in the equity market and certainly in the economy at large, to me, it's the labor market. We're seeing companies slow down certainly their hiring and firing practices. And what that does is it makes the unemployment rate unusually susceptible to surprises. If we get a spike in layoffs like we did last month, that'll go right to the to the unemployment rate, because you don't have any cushion from incoming job growth.
Let's bottom line this. Where do I want to put my money? You say stay home. Despite higher valuations, the U.S. is the place to be.
I think it is because of the myriad of tailwinds that we see in the U.S. economy. To me, that means the U.S. economy itself will broaden out relative to this year, and that also implies a broadening of S&P performance.
So if I want to stay in the U.S., let's get more specific. Which sectors do I want to overweight, Christian?
I like right now financials because of bank deregulation that I think we'll see in 2026. Healthcare is kind of much maligned because of these regulatory concerns, but that's a nice, cheaper AI adjacent area to play because of the impact that you might have on healthcare. And then I think about all these data centers that we're building and how you have to power them. So energy and energy infrastructure, I think, are other ways to play the AI theme.
Do you, in terms of the healthcare sector, the health sector, do you typically would say, okay, I'm going to move there, valuation, safety, play defense? Is that still the reason people move to that sector, or actually no? It's like something's changed with GLP-1s, people looking for growth. Are the reasons people move into healthcare the same?
I think today it's a bit of everything, but what you point out is what I'm picking up on as well, is the ability of AI, the ability of these some of these technologies to speed up the process of developing drugs, custom drugs, all of those things I think will help be a good tailwind for the healthcare sector.
Very last one. So those are the sectors you like. Are there sectors you'd say, listen, I'd probably underweight in 26?
A little concern about the consumer for what we talked about in terms of that K-shaped recovery. Now, it's tough to tell exactly how that will all even itself out, and clearly the consumer sector is really, really broad, but we are quite wary of the lower end consumer at this point.
The lower end. All right, Christian, always great to see you. Thank you, sir.
Thanks for having me.
You guys have a lot of
All right, so still talking about the K-shaped economy. Still looking around, looking for those big news reports. But Monday morning seems to be some late bloomers coming out. We know Oracle is up here. Let's see, 6 minutes ago, a mild recession in 2026. This portfolio manager isn't ruling it out. Let's see.
Bid Unfiltered podcast. I'm Yahoo Finance Executive Editor Brian Sozzi. Like I always say, this podcast will make you a smarter investor and I would say a better leader. Let's lean into both of these right now. Joining me for this episode at the NASDAQ at Times Square is Tom Hale, Aura Health CEO. Tom, good to see you. I've been following your journey and Aura's journey for many years. Thank you for coming on here today. Let's get a state of play on Aura. How many of these have you sold this year?
So in the last 12 months, we've probably sold maybe call it 2.5, almost 3 million. In the lifetime of the company, 5.5 million. So if you think about it, in the last 12 months, we've sold more than half of our total lifetime sales. So quite a few fingers with rings on out there.
What finger are you supposed to wear it on? As you know, I was an Aura. I love the product. I get it. What's the right finger?
So I'm checking just to make sure. The index finger is the right place to wear it. And the reason for that is that when your heart pumps, the blood flows, right down your artery right here underneath the skin. And so this is actually the first stop for your pulse as it goes through your body that can be measured. You probably know this, but when you go to the hospital, where do they put the sensor? Well, they put it on your index finger, right here on the tip of your finger. They don't put it on your wrist. They don't put it on your pinky. They don't put it on your toe. That being said, lots of people like to wear the Oura ring on different fingers. The only compromise is a little bit of accuracy, and maybe that's on the order of 2 or 3% per finger. So it's not such a bad issue.
I'm trying not to go to the hospital, Tom. That's the goal of all this data that I'm getting on
100%.
myself. Yes. So why are you wearing 2 rings? I mean, I saw you have both rings on right now.
Yeah, I've got a ceramic ring, just because it's the new device that we just shipped this fall, so it's nice to see it. But it's also my beta software is running on that ceramic ring, and my personal production ring, which has my data from the past 5 years, is right here on this finger. So I wear 2 so I can see what's coming down the pipe in terms of new software.
How hardcore are you when it comes to tracking your data?
Well, I guess the only answer for that is that I'm super hardcore. I've got 2 rings on. I'm wearing multiple wearable devices, the CGM at any given time. So I take it pretty seriously, both professionally but also personally. I'm turning 57, and when you turn 57, you start thinking a lot about how you want to maintain your health and all the things that you can do to make sure you live a long, healthy life, which of course is the mission of Aura.
I'm going to get more to the business, I promise. But like I said, as aware of this, as a follow of the story, how has your behavior changed because of this device?
God, so many ways.
All right.
I mean,
So if y'all interested in Aura, hey, that was a nice little plug for Aura. But let's see. I just looked at that video and it's 30 minutes. I'm not sitting there through 30 minutes. Let's see. A mild recession is what I thought.
Broadly speaking, things don't look horrible. I wouldn't be surprised to see a mild recession in the beginning of 2026.
And the R word, I have not heard that on this desk in a while.
Yeah, I mean, look, there are a lot of people out there who are going to have a hard time making ends meet. And that's part of the way cycles work. We hear about this day in and day out on the affordability topic, right? The most recent off-cycle election that was just held in Tennessee, for both the Republicans and the Democrats, the #1 issue was affordability. So there is a big part of our country that really is feeling the pain of higher prices. At the top end of the economy, where the market's pricing things, we don't see it as much, right? So there's more resiliency at the high end of the market, and companies have been able to weather this so far, but it wouldn't surprise me if we start seeing a little bit more weakening. So that really, the push and pull to me is that you don't want to cut interest rates just to spur asset prices, especially when equities are at all-time highs. But we are seeing some softness in the labor market, which is kind of the bottom end of the market. More so. So it's complicated.
That's the one count I've heard, Matt, is there's folks have said, listen, they're going to cut because they are zeroed in on that labor market.
Yeah.
They see weakening, and the argument you hear is, well, they want to move because central bankers feel like if that labor market gets away from them, it can get away from them really quickly.
And I think that's very true. I think with the dynamic in the market right now, it's probably harder to solve because the net beneficiaries of lower interest rates tend to be the top end of that market, right? So it's not like a direct injection medicine to the pain point, right? It's sort of take a pill and saturate the whole body. But the beneficiaries of lower interest rates really aren't the people they're trying to target with the policy. So it's a little bit difficult, I would say. I don't envy them for right now, for many reasons.
It's a tough gig.
Before we get to the first half of 26, we got Oracle earnings coming up, which sort of sits squarely at that debt.
All right, let's see if there's any other news drops. Looking over here on our low floats and higher floats, see if any changes have come there. Low floats, CETX, TWG, BDRX, HWH. No catalyst. JFBR, nothing. Ruby, pretty much did a round trip as well. Went up here to 388, back down to 293. So we want to know what catalyst are the people on? What catalysts are does the general public like the most? Looking over here, again, looks like I thought it was taking a break, but still looking kind of bullish here towards the 25,000, like this little top level here on the NQ. So definitely something happening here. I don't know if it's actually going to break out or if it's going to wait to intraday to break out of this, but definitely looking a little bit more bullish on the overall market. BDRX. Fulcrum, 58%. Starting to get a little bit of structure, but I'm not sure how that's going to hold. Bottom of the pre-market was down here at 1068. So a little bit of structure there that is kind of following, but it is a higher float one, but it does have a little bit of catalyst behind the name. So watching FLCL or FUCL, can I not say this right? FULC. And all of our low floats are just kind of out in the wind today. So we did our due diligence. This one had an ATR of 87 cents at the close of last Friday. Let's see what kind of trend it ends up forming. Up 61%. CETX coming back up there to the point of control at 1243. Does it have any downward structure? I mean, it kind of got stopped on this first level, 1376, pulled down to this 1095, held it a little bit. For now, I mean, it has a little bit of an uptrend. The only issue is that no catalyst. So from the bottom here, pretty much has been on a ride like this on CETX, and we'll be waiting for a breakdown of 1095 for weakness. But I think I'm gonna end up during intraday. I might be more interested in FULC if it can show a good setup. Not really looking for too much because it is a higher float. I'll be glad to get 10 cents off of it, to be honest. FULC does need some more volume though. Only 3 million shares traded. Maybe during intraday it'll really pick up, but we're seeing the point of control is down here at 1306 on the 5 minutes 13:41, and then on the 15 minutes 13:40. So I'll go ahead and draw that box in there. 13:06 up to 13:40s is the current level I'll be watching there. For it to pull back to see if it continues to hold down this downtrend. Maybe more buyers come in there, and then we could push through this overall, or it might get ready to push now. I'm not sure, but either way it goes, I kind of want to see it form a little bit of strength down here first. CETX right at 300%. But continues to get sold off. Okay. FUCL confirming a little bit of this downwards trend. I like that. Pull on back. I know I had notes out here for this. Let's see. Well, I guess I gotta move them closer. Okay, 15-minute. Okay, there we go. Asian Singapore. I was like, where are my notes for this? So Weave is Asian Singapore. I wonder, is it blocked too? I know we tested out TWG in Asian stock. Let me test out WVE and see if it's blocked as well. It is not blocked. It's tradable. Obesity, Asian Singapore. Okay. But that float is super high, 72.92 million in that float. BDRX continued to just kind of fall off as people kind of are trying to figure out if the float is that actually this high is 60.83 billion, and it was really chopped down in here and lost a lot of steam. CETX headed back towards this downtrend. This is what I wanted to see. This one just go ahead and trade down. Point of control is down here around the 13. So yeah, just keep doing that. And then I'm going to be probably later on in the day looking for some type of break after the open. Give it a couple minutes, see if it dips some more for a nice retracement. Now on the daily chart for Fulcrum, it actually is pretty bullish. So it's just been grinding higher down here from $1, $2.30, grinding higher, grinding higher, grinding higher. And so now it pops up here to $12, $14. And I'm like, okay, well, let's see if it can hold over this 1204. Right now it's at 14, whatever. But this 1204, 1220 level could be a level that it kind of gains, kind of rests here for a minute, and then moves up higher. So that's what I'm really expecting on this one if it works out that way. Oh, but it keeps testing though. FULC right there. Hopefully it doesn't break out. Would love to see them hold it down for a little bit longer. AVGO. Obesity stock looking more and more bullish on WVE. It announced positive results for, or positive interim data for phase 1 InLight trial. And still kind of building out some structure here. So the top was 1239. And this will be considered an outlier. So let's see if it ends up holding it down, if this starts to form some type of downward structure. FULC still being held down by this downtrend. I would love to see it get back under the 1414s. CETX falling back down. That's what we want to see. No catalyst, so we want to see these kind of give up on the day, and where, you know, people that are actually researching, doing their due diligence, they start to kind of come in, and we see these fail because they're like, wait a minute, this thing has no reason to be up. Let's short it. And so we want to see where the buyers are saying, okay, well, this thing needs to be up. Let's buy it, right? So CTX coming on back down to that trend that's been holding. Hopefully it crashes out. Let's see. BDRX, again, this one's going on down with the wind. That's perfect. Okay, this one continued to break out. So it has a top up here of 1239. And it may break that. Yeah, it may break out. Yep, new highs. So I'm going to remove this. Well, let the candle close first. But this is Singapore. And if this is going to be leading the day with 12 million shares traded up 66%, does have catalyst, but we'll see. I kind of like the sickle cell a little bit better. But maybe this one is going to be the one. FULC definitely needs to pump the volume if it's going to, because this one is going on up on WVE. 72.92 million shares in this one, and it's making some pre-market moves, but when it comes to intraday, I think it's going to definitely tighten up a lot. Top side was 1336. Let's go look at this daily chart for Weave again, or WVE. Oops, not that one. So we can see it had a little level here at the 1052s. That was a possible daily. Could be a possible support. at the 1056, and then up here to the highs we had 1668. So that's kind of like a peak up there. Mark that up, peak daily. Let's zoom back just a bit. See what's further back here. Kind of just some big gaps up here. Not sure people look that far back. 2021 on this one. But it is what it is. Hit a high of 1450. And so I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of this this drawing, because that pretty much invalidates it breaking over that much. $13 million shares traded on this one. FULC falling back under as well. So now we have a trend inside of a trend. See if it continues to hold it down. Redraw this. Continue to hold it down, big boy. We'll see you all the way back down to 13. Okay. WV up 75%. Now, looking over here on the betas for the higher floats, these are weekly following the market, not really strong betas. If they were like 4s, 5s, that would mean they would very, very strongly follow the market. So, but the market, this is going to be a weak follower of the market. So we kind of want to keep eyes on that as well and see if the market wants to hold where it is, kind of sideways or what for these two. But this one is a little bit stronger beta than the FULC. We shall see. CETX going on down. That's what we want to see right there. That's it's a little steep. It's just in consolidation right now. Ooh, what just happened? Big pump up there from 1327 up here to 1390. $14 million shares traded on this one. Let's see if we continue some type of downtrend from here. Bottom side is 12.86, so about $1. If it does go down here, $1 loss past this previous low. See if it ends up holding down here. Point of control still down here at 10.11. Hadn't even moved that point of control yet. That's how we know it's lighter volume up here. Easy to drop. And also the market is showing red as well, but it shouldn't affect this one that much to be just falling back to Middle Earth. Bottom of this is 1288. We do have a little bit of an idea for structure, a downtrend, but it doesn't mean that it's over with. Okay, CETX went ahead and crashed out. TWG, nothing. BDRX, nothing. Okay. ELAB. Yeah, I think WVE is going to have to fail before anything else can really play ball on today. It's got 15 million shares traded. Now starting to find that little trend. It's just got to get back past this point too, though. This little 1238 where it peaked out here. Hopefully that doesn't become some type of support. FULC. Let's go ahead and get a good dump down FULC. All right, anyway, I'm about to get on down. As far as low floats are going, I haven't seen anything that's like looking interesting at all. Higher floats, I usually don't do anything with those until intraday after the open, well after the open. So I may come back and look at not WVE. It's an Asian stock. I'm not sure how much I can actually trust this one. And it's a super high float. But FULC, I may watch it. Come on, man. We need you to continue to dive, my boy. What are you doing? All right. Well, I'll come back and look at FULC. Really wanted to get back down here and test this level one more time, but maybe it won't. Maybe it's just ready to go up. So it is what it is. But this is another outlier. We'll see if it gets back under 450s. But at this point, being 30 cents above that, we'll just have to see. Kind of like a wait and see one. Will it stay below this level? Perfect, perfect. So we get more and more ideas here for downtrends. It just needs to break down. Yes, break down 14 really. I'll be happy. Looking back over here at WVE, continue to make its way down. But yeah, I'm about to get on off of here. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Let's just swing back through here. So this was on the low floats. Didn't find anything with catalysts or really with any kind of action in the low floats. In a little bit of higher floats, we kind of spotlighted WVE to see it fail, and FULC is the one that I'm actually going to be watching to see if we can get some more trading on that one. But yeah, that's pretty much it for today. Did our due diligence on all of these stocks that could possibly give some money. No rush trading, sitting back, analyzing, and looking for possible opportunities. But anyway, that is it for me today. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Back to, oh man, come on and fall. Point of control has moved up here to 1450. So they have a box here, a new box, 1450 to 1340. The box is expanded. Okay, well, I'm not going to draw that. That's too much expansion. I want to see some actual trading. It's kind of like in some hard consolidation here. But yeah, that's it for me today. And as always, I will see you guys in the Discord. Discord is free. We continue the conversations as far as, oh my goodness, as far as doing our due diligence and things over there in the Discord. This one just didn't want to wait, so looks like it wants to get up. Has this level here at the 1502. Hopefully it shoves it back down. Yes, yes, yes. Shove it back down, and I will be checking on this one in a little bit. All right, see y'all in the next one tomorrow morning pre-market. Peace.